do it.
Okay. Are you ready?
Yep.
Hello. My name is Bill Smurray, and today I am with Louise Nettleton. And Louise Nettleton is the owner of Simplify, and we're going to talk more to her about exactly what she does throughout the program here. So, first of all, how are you today, Louise? It's
I'm
nice
good.
to see you.
Good to see you,
Thanks
Bill.
for coming in.
Yeah, you're most welcome.
Okay. So, Louise, tell us about yourself, who you are. Just so folks listening in or watching, just tell us a bit. We'll get to your business a bit later. But,
Sure. So I was actually born in England, and my family moved to Canada when I was
Excuse
6.
me, where in England?
Staffordshire, Stoke-on-Trent, sort of the Midlands area.
Okay. Where was my wife was born over there too?
Oh, really? It's known as the Pottery area.
Okay.
Moved here when I was 6, and it was actually quite tough integrating. I was teased quite a bit because I had a
Your accent,
lovely
right?
accent.
I heard this before.
Which I have lost, yes, sadly. So I lived in Burlington. We lived in Burlington, and then after high school, moved to Peterborough, actually, where I went to Trent University for 4 years, and I studied anthropology and psychology, got a 4-year honors Bachelor of Science.
Good for you.
Thank you.
You're
And
smart too.
and then I decided, because I hadn't had enough schooling, that I would go back to school, and I went to Seneca College and received a post-diploma certification in corporate communications. After I left school, I sort of have a varied background in marketing and event planning, and I've worked in various industries. I've worked for the Wine Council of Ontario. I've worked for a health and wellness company in Burlington called Shackley. I've worked for a couple of event planning companies in Toronto, so definitely varied. And when I moved to Port Hope, the jobs weren't that plentiful, let's say, in the areas that I had been trained in and that I was interested in. So that's sort of really how Simplify was created.
Yeah, I love Port Hope. I've been
Yeah.
there for years. I just love Port Hope.
Yeah, it's a very nice town. Yeah,
Love Peterborough too.
yeah, I love Peterborough.
I don't know which.
Yeah.
They're both great communities.
Yes, they are. Yes.
So tell us just about, that's a bit about you, about your family, that sort of thing.
Okay, so I'm married. I have
How long you been married?
12 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I have a yellow lab named Finnegan. He's quite the mischievous dog, I think, as the name sort of alludes to.
Finnegan, okay. Yeah, okay. I have a grand dog.
They are people.
They
They're
are
people with
people.
fur.
Yes.
Yes, they are. They have their own little personalities, and I'm an animal lover. I love all animals.
So am I.
Yeah, I'm very passionate about animals and animal welfare. I actually went to India last February and volunteered in an elephant sanctuary.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Let's go down that and explore
Yeah.
that more, okay? Later on, yeah.
Okay,
Let's
yeah.
go there.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear about that.
Yeah, no, it was an amazing trip. I went for a month, and it was, I went by myself. It was quite an interesting
You're very brave.
trip. Yeah, well, or crazy, one of the two.
Okay, one of the two. But yeah, anyway. Very independent.
Yes, very independent, yes. So I actually live in the north, I live in Ward 2 of Port Hope. So I live in the country, have 2 acres. So it's I didn't like it when I first moved there, quite honestly, because it was very rural. I'm used to being in the city. And we have a well and a septic and everything,
All the good stuff.
coyotes, no streetlights, all the stuff that goes with country life. But yeah, and other than that, I love to read. I'm an avid reader, love to go out to the movies and
There's never
hang out
enough
with
time to finish all the books, right?
Yeah. Oh, never enough time. Yeah.
How-
I have a stack like this
How many
next
books
to
are
my.
going at any given time? How many books are you reading at any given time?
Probably 5.
Yeah, I know. It's like,
Yeah.
you can't read one book. I know.
Yeah.
It's
No. I'm an avid reader for sure.
okay, let's talk more about your occupation here.
Okay.
What exactly does Simplify do? And I thought this was, when I first met you, I thought simplifying is something a lot of, because I'm in real estate,
Yes.
most people don't even have the slightest idea how they're going to go about downsizing.
Sure.
And
Yep.
that's why I thought you would be really interesting to have on. So
Yeah. So Simplify was created in 2012, and sort of it started off as a concierge service, which a lot of people don't understand what that means. They sort of relate it to the hotel industry, but a concierge is basically a personal assistant, and sort of it's an amalgamation of all of my skills from my previous corporate history. and experience. So under Simplify, I have 3 services. I have a personal assistant service. I have the professional organizing, which we'll speak about, and the virtual assistant service. So in terms of professional organizing, I help people simplify their homes and their small businesses. And so that could be for various reasons. They're moving, and like you say, they need to downsize and declutter because we all have too much stuff.
I run into people like that all the time. They have no idea
Yes.
how to even start.
No.
Yeah.
Or they just feel like they have too much stuff and they can't.
They're overwhelmed.
They're overwhelmed and they can't deal with their day-to-day function because their house is piles everywhere. I had a call yesterday from a woman, and she has 5 kids and just too much stuff. And she says, I'm anxious about all this stuff and I need to get on top of it. So I have sort of a very organic approach to how I work with people. It's just myself. If I need to bring people in, I will. But I like the one-on-one relationship, and helping people declutter and organize their homes is a very, it's a personal topic and it's a sensitive topic because there's a lot of mental stuff and emotional stuff that comes up.
People form attachments.
Huge
Even
attachments.
though they never used it for 20 years.
Yes, huge attachments.
So-and-so gave that to me.
Right. And actually, interestingly enough, men more than women.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. This is, I need 5 sets of drills.
Oh,
because,
yes, I've got those.
If one breaks, then I need a backup, and I have a backup for the backup. Or, I have this T-shirt from when I was in high school. It's my favorite T-shirt.
I've got those too.
Stained and it's got holes in it, but they can't part with it. So it's very interesting. Men are more of a challenge with decluttering. But yeah, I just basically go in and we discover, we sit down and do a discovery meeting where we figure out what needs to be done. Are they moving? Are they downsizing? Do they just need to get rid of their stuff because of the whole minimalism culture that's come up, and the Marie Kondo? I don't know if you've heard about her, KonMari. She's on Netflix. Everyone now is KonMariing their house.
No, I have not heard that.
Yeah, so it's
Thanks. I just learned something.
Yeah, it's she has a way of folding clothes, and she has a whole way of approaching organizing. It's considering sparking joy. So if you look at a piece, does this picture spark joy? So yeah, it's a very interesting job.
Every case is different.
Every case is different. Every person is different. It's not cookie cutter by any means.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't be.
Yeah, I have to sort of pull out my bag of tricks, if you will, to deal with people, because you have to be sensitive to people and their stuff because it's important to them. So
yeah, they've grown up with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's change the subject here.
Okay.
Let's talk about the elephants.
Okay, let's talk about elephants.
Let's talk about the elephants. You went to India.
I did.
To an elephant sanctuary?
Yes.
Okay, let's talk about that.
So I've always wanted to go to India. I don't know why. It's just been one of those places that I've always wanted to visit. And so last year in February, I decided to take the plunge, and I went for 1 month. Because if you're going that far, it's a 14-hour flight. You need to go for a good chunk of time.
Yeah, we don't want to be there for 5 days. Yeah,
yes, yeah. So I broke the trip up. I went to a place called Dehradun, which is north of Delhi. Mm-hmm. It's sort of getting into the Himalayas, where I went to an
That's
ashram.
a beautiful country then.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful country. I went to an ashram and I did meditation and yoga for 2 weeks, which really just chilled me out. Because, of course, when you have a business, you're always on the go. You're always on your phone, technology.
You're always on a leash.
Yes. So it really helped me just quiet my mind and just sort of get back to center. So I did that for 2 weeks. And then I traveled over to Agra, which is where the Taj Mahal is. And just outside of that is where the elephant sanctuary is.
Okay.
So I've been following this elephant sanctuary for probably about 6 months to a year before I went over there. And they do amazing work. So they rescue captive and abused elephants that are in really bad situations, and they bring them to the sanctuary. And
how large is the sanctuary? I mean, it's got to be like huge. I mean, for elephants.
Yeah, they have quite a bit of land. I actually don't know how much land they do, but they do have a good parcel of land that was given to them by the government. The sanctuary is run by a nonprofit organization called Wildlife SOS.
Where are they based? Yeah.
They're based in India.
They are based. Okay.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, Prime Minister Trudeau was there the day before I arrived. So I was following him basically on his trip to India. So that was quite interesting. But yeah, basically these elephants are captive and they're in really bad situations. So
Yes.
they bring them there. So a lot of them have poor health, significant health issues actually. And so they bring them back to health as much as they can and just let them live the rest of their lives in a peaceful situation.
Let them retire peacefully. Yeah.
Yeah, where they're not being
How
abused.
many elephants would they have? Yeah, and just, I mean, not,
Roughly, I think they have 40 elephants, roughly 20 males, 20 females. And they keep them separate because elephants obviously go into musk. And so for breeding issues and, things like that, they
just trouble. Yeah.
Yes. But they have a beautiful space. And when you volunteer with them, you're allowed to wash them. You get right into their
You were right in
pens
with
with
the.
them.
That's where I was going with this.
Right in with them.
Yeah.
So they lay down in front of you and you're literally scrubbing the elephant.
But they're very gentle. I mean,
They're very gentle.
Unless-
Yes.
yeah.
Well, the thing with captive elephants, of course, is the wild has been taken out of them. So if they are still a wild animal, but to
they
a certain
still are.
extent,
Yeah.
they will, they protect themselves, but they're very, very
They know you're not
humanized,
the
for
enemy. They know
example.
you're not the enemy.
Absolutely. They can feel your energy, right? Elephants are extremely sensitive, extremely smart and
Very
intelligent.
Family
Yes.
orientated.
Yes, they're very much like humans. They mourn like us. They, they circle around.
They protect their little ones.
They
from-
protect
yeah,
their,
yeah.
their matriarchal. So, So, and it was hard work. You're chopping sugar cane. We're chopping like 50 kg pails of food. We're feeding them. So
That's
it was
like 100 pounds.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Twice a day they eat 50 kg, and they all have their own diet. So there's a board
That's incredible.
with all their names. So Peanut gets just squash, because some of them don't have teeth, some of them are blind. So it's quite a very emotional.
There must be form a real bond with some of them.
Yes,
Like
absolutely.
you wouldn't form a bond with every one of them, but you must form a bond.
No,
with
you
some.
connect with some of them for sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they
Yes.
recognize you. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. So they're mahout. A mahout is the handler who looked after the elephant. So the mahout actually comes with them to the sanctuary. And the mahout, interestingly enough, would be the person who would have abused them previously.
Okay.
So the sanctuary says, you can come to our sanctuary. We'll give you a job. We'll help you, we'll pay for you to stay with the elephant. You have to move away from your family, obviously. But we will train you to work with the elephants without abusing them. So you don't need to use a bell hook or, all these things. You can train the elephant, but you don't have to use abusive techniques. So it's a really good setup that they have, that they're teaching these people how they can train and work with animals without abusing them.
Are you going back?
Oh, I'm going back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Next-
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Next February. Yeah.
Oh, I don't blame you.
February seems to be, I mean, the thing with a business is obviously, when you're a small business, you need to be working because you're, self-sustainable. But at the end of the day, you have to live life too. And it's really important for me to experience what I want to experience.
This leads into my next question.
Yeah. Okay, great.
What do you do for recreation?
Yeah.
Who's Louise? What does Louise do for recreation?
I'm a very quiet person, so I do like to be on my own quite a bit because I'm so busy with my business. So, I love to watch movies. I love to read. I'm a bit of an activist, I can say. I do a lot of petitions,
Good for you.
signing petitions.
Good for you. That's incredible.
And because animal welfare is, like I said, really important, and animals are abused far too much, with circuses and petting zoos and
I know. Just zoos.
just zoos in general. Yeah. So
zoos, right?
yeah.
So that used to be. Yeah.
Yes. So I spend a lot of my time actually fundraising. I'm actually doing a walk, or a climb. I'm climbing the CN Tower in April.
The stairs.
All 1,774 stairs, to raise money for World Wildlife Fund. So I've raised $980 so far. And
For you.
last year in September, I did what's called a Tough Mudder. I don't know if you've heard about that.
No.
It's an obstacle course in mud.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I've read about. Okay.
yeah.
Sorry. I've read about that. Yeah.
Yes. So it's a 3-hour mud
So you're
extravaganza.
extremely physically fit too.
Well, I'm trying to get there. Definitely not as fit as some of the people who are at Tough Mudder. But it's a very interesting community where people help you. So you're trying to scale this wall of mud. and there'll be someone behind you, and they'll say, "Here, give me your foot," and they'll like
Okay,
help
so
you,
they're not
help
trying to
over.
drag you back down.
No. Yeah.
Okay.
But there's all sorts of obstacle courses. It's in water, it's climbing huge wood structures, it's jumping into buckets of ice cubes. Like, it's a very extreme obstacle course.
It sounds like it's fun, though.
But I'm very passionate, so it's a challenge for me. So it's a physical challenge for me, and I raise money for my charity. So it's a perfect fit.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
remarkable.
Yeah. So after this, I'll be hitting you up for some money for my charity.
Well, this is where we were going to go with this.
That's funny.
Since I met you at the pro organization, the professional referral group
Yes.
that we go to every Wednesday morning.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be.
Yeah.
You should be. I mean.
Oh, I should ask the group, actually, right?
Well, I think Sherry or Linda would ask you to be the speaker there. You haven't been a speaker yet, have you?
Yeah, I was a speaker a couple of weeks ago.
Okay, but you didn't bring this up.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
No,
Yeah.
because sometimes it's blurring professional with business or personal with business. It's
Yeah. This is.
but it's a good point because it's a big piece of who I am.
We should go out to the pro group. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'd back you.
Oh yeah. No, if I can, I'm almost at $1,000, so
Yeah, you're that close.
I'm really close. Yeah. Yep.
So, your dreams for the future.
Dreams for the future. Well,
Where do you want to go? You're
I'm really using my business as a catalyst to change the world.
good for you.
And I know that sounds perhaps a little bit grandiose, but that's sort of my
I like the grandiose approach. Well, no, my belief is go for it.
yeah, you have to dream big, right? And so it's not just, helping people in the community, but also how can I use my business as a catalyst to change animal welfare, to save elephants, elephant conservation, like just sort of thinking, like
Are
maybe
you-
I could be a Jane Goodall one day, like
Are
it's
you an environmentalist too?
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm very, and that actually ties into my business because when you're organizing and decluttering someone's house, the amount of stuff that I remove from someone's house can sometimes be, hundreds of garbage bags, depending on the house,
I know.
right?
I know.
So I'm very, very thorough as to what goes in the garbage, what gets donated to a charity, sort of like Value Village or, other blue box places in the area where they can recycle and upcycle, or what can be recycled. So very little of what I take out of the house, unless it's actually trash, goes into the landfill because we're running out of space. I'm cognizant of that, and organizers really contribute to that, so they have to be mindful of that. So that's one thing that I'm very, very aware of when I'm decluttering.
Yeah.
Because and just water bottles, not bringing.
It's just amazing in our society. You just walk into like a store. I don't want to name stores, but
Yes.
there's an item for every single thing.
Yes. Yeah.
And if there isn't one, they'll invent one.
Yes. Yes.
And they're usually genuine plastic.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
they usually genuinely break after,
Yes.
and then we get to buy another one.
Yeah. Well, and places like the dollar store, for example, they sort of encourage that, right? Because you can go in there and buy cheap toys or things like that. And I declutter a lot of that when I go into people's homes. They just say, we're going to get rid of that. And that it's just sort of like a one-use time thing that they've purchased, maybe for a party or...
One-shot thing that go to the party store, right?
Yeah. And then it just gets thrown away. So yeah, making, I sort of impart that knowledge onto my clients to be more mindful once we've done the whole process when they go shopping. And it actually, a lot of people come back and say to me, I went out shopping even during the process if I'm not finished with them. I had a client, for example, who loved baseball hats, and he said, I went to the store, and he had a really big collection of hats. And I got him down to half, and he said, I went to the store the other day, and I went to the baseball hat section, and he's like, I didn't buy a cap. And I said, wow, that's really impressive. And he said, yeah, I was really conscious. I had your voice in my head saying, do I need this?
Do I need it? Yeah.
Right? Because you only
want
have
it.
one head, and how many caps can you wear, in one shot?
I
So
want it, but I don't need it.
exactly. So yeah, it's interesting how, I give lots of tips and techniques when I'm working with people, but I do try to impart this simplistic, mindful lifestyle, if you will.
Good stuff.
Right?
Our life is so complicated.
It is very complicated.
Like-
But we also feed into that, right? Everyone likes to say,
I
"Oh,
try to-
I'm so busy." It's almost a badge of honor when people say that, right? And I think technology is a huge part of that.
If somebody says that you,
If you're not busy, you're not.
I know.
You're being lazy.
What-
You're not doing
what's-
enough, right?
What's going on in your life? Nothing.
Yes. Oh,
Oh,
okay.
Or run away. Run away from that person, right?
Yeah.
Oh, how, are you busy? Oh, yeah, I just don't have time to do anything. So, yeah.
Yeah, I do get that sometimes, even from my husband. If I decide one day I'm just going to read, like on a weekend, and take an afternoon off and read, is that all you're going to do is
But
read?
it's the guilt that's built into it.
It is the guilt that's built
If
into
you're
it.
not
Yes.
Running
Yes.
on the treadmill,
Yes. Yeah.
then you automatically feel guilty.
Yeah. And society has sort of created that, right? Where
know,
if
it's
you're
wonderful.
not doing something,
They don't even teach us this in school, but you're guilty.
yeah. Yeah. So
Guilty of doing
lose
nothing.
the guilt.
Guilty of doing nothing, right?
Right.
Yeah.
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 And just with how the world is it feels like it's going on overdrive. The pace on everything is so fast.
The information we're loaded with every day. Like
Yes. Yes.
The media, I mean, just
Yeah, slowing down is really important. Like last weekend, for example, I went to a retreat in Hastings. It's a place called Harmony Dawn. They're totally off the grid. And I did a juice fast weekend where all I did was juice.
okay.
And if you want, and we had a day of silence. So it started on Friday at noon
That would
and
be-
it finished on Sunday at 3. And for the whole day for Saturday, no one spoke. And it was
That'd be delightful.
lovely. So yeah,
Sign- sign language.
well, people just smiled and kind of, pointed and, but everyone did their own thing. We juiced.
How many people were there?
There was about 7 of us.
Okay.
Yeah. And, maybe people will look at Wildlife SOS now, want to go to India or save animals. Like there's a lot of roll off, right, that comes from this.
I was going to mention my wife went to single women traveling, or women traveling by themselves singly.
Okay. Yeah.
My wife went to England for 2 weeks by herself. So, I mean, she has relatives over there. Obviously,
Okay.
you would too.
Yes. Yes.
But she went
Yes.
and she went hiking for 2 weeks by herself.
Good for her.
Yeah, I know that's, and
Yeah.
I admire her for that. And when you said, "Well, I went to India by myself," I mean, that's right up.
Traveling by yourself is very, very empowering, especially if you're a woman, right? And going to India by myself, I would not recommend that.
When
It was I had a few sticky situations.
women, I find women are interesting. When I was selling new homes, and they'd come in, a couple would come in, right, and they'd start talking about, countertops, whatever. They're talking about, just talking about this,
Sure.
and or they'd be talking about the construction of the home. Oh, it was always the man, and the little woman, he's here, and the little woman's over there. And I'd start these conversations. It was always the man who started talking, and let's start talking to him. Just ignore her. For the end of the conversation, he was ignored. I was talking to her.
Right.
Yeah,
Yes.
that was the important person.
Right. Yes.
And yeah, that was the important. And I'd ask them, like, why are you back there? Why aren't you asking questions? Well, my husband can do that. I thought, like, I don't get it, because, like, I've been married a fairly long time, and she comes and goes when she wants, if she wants, and comes home if she wants, right? That's up to her. If she doesn't want to come
Of course,
home.
she's her own person.
Yeah, if she doesn't want to come home, there's a reason for that, right? It's like, yeah. But yeah, you're free to go. I mean, you came home because you want to, not
Right.
because you have to.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Of course. Yeah.
Okay, so
Really quick, you mentioned some sticky situations when you were traveling.
Oh.
I would love to hear some of those if you want to tell them.
yeah, one or two, whatever.
Sticky situations in India mostly were actually to do with cab rides. So when I took the train from Delhi to Agra on the way to the elephant sanctuary, I befriended this man on the train next to me who said I should get off a stop before because it would be quicker, and just to take a cab to the elephant sanctuary.
Okay, good advice.
He was a travel agent, and obviously he lives in India, so of course I trusted him. I got off on the platform, and I was chatting to this gentleman, and he said, "We'll find you a taxi cab driver." And this gentleman came up and he said, "Oh, you're looking for a taxi cab driver?" And yes, and we chatted and we arranged the price. We left the station. we walked through all the taxi cab drivers that sort of hover outside the station waiting for your business. And we got to his car, and I quickly realized he wasn't a taxi cab driver.
Oh, therefore, who are you?
So, really beat up Land Rover and so we'd already negotiated the price, and I thought, I have a pretty good sense of intuition. And so
Little alarm bells were going off?
not really, but
Okay.
sort of aware. So I had a backpack with me, so I kept it with me. I didn't put it in the trunk because if I had to do a sort of
Bail.
MacGyver drop and roll kind of thing, I'd have my bag with me. And we started to drive a few feet, and then another guy hopped in the front seat.
Oh,
So I thought, okay, this is interesting.
what do we do now?
Put my hand through my luggage to kind of think, maybe escape. But a few feet further, he hopped out. It's just sort of how things happen over there, right? It's just
Different culture.
shared drives, whatever. We stopped at a gas station. He asked for half my money. So now, okay, because I told him I wasn't paying him until he got me to my destination. I gave him half, but now now the alarm bells are kind of going off. And keep in mind, I have no idea how to get to where we're going. Like, I'm trusting him completely. And it's a 45-minute cab ride. It's not like it's a 10-minute cab ride. So we get to our first toll road, or toll booth, because there were lots of toll booths on the way. And he asked me for more money.
Oh, okay.
So I said, okay, now we have to really just nip this in the bud. So I said to him, no more money until you get me to where I'm going. I said, I'm just not giving you any more money. And so he said something in Hindi and got all upset. And so we drove, and he got me lost so many times. And we'd be pulled over on the side of this little town, and he'd get out and cross the highway, and there'd be like 20 guys across the street looking at me, looking at the directions, looking at me, looking at the directions. And it was really tense. It was really tense. So a 45-minute ride took us probably an hour and a half. But he did get me there, thankfully, and he asked for more money than what we had agreed to. But by that point, I was
Take your money, I'm bailing.
so happy that I was alive, right? And B, I was at my destination.
Take your money.
So gladly take it.
Have a nice Christmas.
Yeah. So a few crazy situations where I would just get dropped off in the middle of nowhere, and they would say, find your way. Like, it's just because it's a very patriarchal run country. And you do not want to put yourself in a situation where it's you and 10 men. It's asking for trouble.
I wouldn't.
Yeah, I've done a lot of research, and it was, I had to know when to
That's
sort of
instinctive, I think.
back off and when to sort of...
Run away.
Yes.
Run away.
Yes. Yeah.
Just before we wrap up here,
Sure.
and I'd like to invite you back again. We can do this. I don't know.
I'd love to come. Yeah, it's
maybe
been
we can
great.
do it in a couple of months or more or whatever. And,
Perfect.
I'd like to. I'd love to do this again.
Sure.
What else would you like to add? I mean, just go ahead. The floor is wide open. Just anything you'd like to say. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think...
Like, you can talk about your business, talk about your personal, whatever.
Okay. Well, sort of business intertwined with lifestyle. I think it's important that people take time for themselves and just realize that they don't have to do everything on their to-do list. I actually encourage people to have a not to-do list. My clients...
People don't understand that.
Yeah, they don't understand it.
They've been brought up the other way.
Yes, and put the technology down. We all know what to do. We just don't do it, and so it is being mindful enough to say, okay, I am going to put my phone on airplane mode at 7 p.m., which is what I do, and I won't look at it for the rest of the day or for the rest of the evening until the morning. I've actually just finished a book called The 5 a.m. Club by Robin Sharma.
Okay.
I don't know if you've heard of him.
No, I haven't, but I have
He's
now.
written some interesting books, like The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, Robin Sharma. So he, this book called The 5 a.m. Club, you get up at 5 a.m. every day. You do this 20-20-20 protocol where it's 20 minutes of exercise, which is challenging. But, I just do some light yoga stretches, 20 minutes of mindfulness, whether it's meditation, gratitude journal, and then 20 minutes of knowledge. So you're reading a book that will educate yourself. You're watching a TED Talk or a podcast like this, for example. And it really sets your day up. And I found that since I've been doing that, I'm a lot more relaxed. I'm a lot more calm. Because before, you wake up at 7:30, you're on the road. You're getting the kids ready, you're getting your breakfast ready, you're walking the dog. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy making for you, right? So
Just getting a house started in the morning, right?
the whole household
Just getting it
routine.
moving.
Yes.
Oh.
So if you have an hour or an hour and a half, even if, say, if the kids or your spouse wake up at 6:30, you have an hour and a half to yourself. And it really, really sets your day for success. I find it has really changed a lot in my life. Getting up at 5 is not the most fun thing to do, but once you do it for a certain amount
Watching
of time.
the sun come up is great.
Oh, it is. It
Best
is.
time of day.
Yeah, that's true. But once you get into it, you miss it actually, and it really just it changes. It changes your life. Yeah, I would highly recommend reading the book. It's very, very interesting.
Down the author, I'll look it up. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good.
Okay. So as I said, I'd love to invite you back again.
Yeah, I'd love to come
And
back.
we can do that. I don't know. Whenever you feel comfortable, just let me know, and we can
Okay,
do it again.
perfect.
And I'm with Louise Nettleton. My name is Bill Smurry, and thanks for watching or listening. And bye for now.
Thanks, Bill. It's been great.